Guys, welcome back to another video of What If Deku was the Reincarnation of Mori Part 2. Now, where we last left off, Deku had basically entered UA and had passed the quirk exam Aizawa had given, getting first in everything except for speed, as well as in the side-to-side jumping, which speed went to Ida, and side-to-side jumping went to Mineta. Afterwards, the next day, and a couple days after, nothing much happened. It was more of introduction and explained the different classes and how each class worked. Deku went back home with his house being empty. Of course, he walked to the train station with Ida and Uraraka. Bakugo really didn't hang out with Deku because he kind of didn't know Deku. And no one else really stayed with Deku either because of Deku's just immense power that he has currently. Afterwards, there was the next portion of their training. All Might walks into the room, and he says, "Walking into the room like a normal hero, or a normal human." And everyone looks at All Might, and they're all like, "Oh my god, it's All Might! It's All Might! I can't believe it! It's All Might!" And All Might is like, yes, now calm down. Now, every person here, if I remember correctly, has a quirk, right? And everyone is like, yeah, we have a quirk. And then Deku raises his hand. He says, "No, sir, I do not have a quirk." And All Might curiously looks at Deku, and he's like, "But you do have a quirk, correct? You were able to easily destroy the 3-pointer robots. Not to mention, you also easily took out the 0-pointer with whatever you used against the 0-pointer. And Deku says, "Well, what I used against the 0-pointer was called Yaoi. And I do not have a quirk, but I physically broken the limits of a normal human's capabilities." Oh. Okay. Well, then this training won't really account to you much. You can have a free period for this class. And Deku is just like, okay, well, I might as well stay here then. And All Might's like, "Do as you wish." Now, this class will be teaching you on how to manage the power of your quirk. And everyone looks at All Might kind of weird and like, the power of our quirks? What do you mean? And All Might says, "Well, you see, every quirk has a certain amount of power in it. And the user can increase or decrease and control the power." And Bakugo says, "So we're just training our quirk capabilities?" No. See, training your basic use of your quirk and training the advanced use of your quirk is two different things. You all will start by learning how to manipulate your own quirk's power and use it to strengthen your base body. And everyone looks at All Might really weird, like, "What are you on about?" And All Might explains, saying, "Well, you see, heroes, the reason why they can defeat villains easily is because heroes have a training in basic quirk enhancement strengthening, where we strengthen our base bodies using the energy our quirks give off." And everyone looks at All Might really weird. And All Might's like, "So, let me actually explain what quirk energy is. When the first kid was born with a quirk, scientists discovered that quirks actually have a certain weird energy that is given off by them. This energy can be used for multiple things, including powering stuff or being used to strengthen the own body of the user. Using this technique correctly, a normal human could easily destroy a wall, a concrete wall. And if used correctly, it can even boost the base power of your own quirks substantially." And Deku's like, "Oh, so it's like using what my master called ki." And All Might look towards Deku and he's like, "But you don't have a quirk." And Deku's like, "Yeah, I don't. But my master, the Sage of the East, or the Jade Emperor as he was asked to be called, used his ki to enhance his distracts even more." What is ki? Well, you see, ki is the life force. and also can help sustain life and enhance it. So basically, what your master taught you was how normal people can enhance their bodies even though they don't have quirks? Yeah, but he says only certain people can actually understand and master how to use ki, and understanding and mastering how to use ki is way more difficult. Not to mention that I have to master how to use ki to master how to use yaoi. Then All Might's like, what's yaoi? Well, yaoi is my pull. It lets me extend it and shorten it and make it bigger and make it smaller. It's a very effective weapon in long and close range combat. Oh, I see. Well then yes, I guess you can join in. You would use your ki, while everyone else would use their quirk energy. And to explain for people who don't know, quirk energy is divine energy, but it was renamed quirk energy after the gods had stepped in to rewrite history to make humans forget about the whole entire god and human war and all of that, and that demons exist and stuff. And Generation X was later renamed the Quirk Generation because that's what they called the superpowers, even though the superpowers are just divine energy. So they're going to use the divine energy that they produce inside their bodies to strengthen it. That's basically what they're getting at, but it's called quirk energy. So, you kids must understand your energy itself. Every single wave of energy is different. For example, Bakugo's might be a more aggressive wave of energy, meaning that it would probably increase his physical strength and speed, where Kirishima's might be a little bit more of a defensive one, where it would increase his durability and his strength, but not increase the speed. So everyone went out to the training gym that they have, and they all sat there, and they closed their eyes. They start to try to find how to access this form of energy All Might was talking about. They searched inside themselves and searched wide. Deku was already training to increase the amount of ki he can control at once. Because he can gather up more and more life energy, he just can't gather up more and more ki. They kept training this. And eventually, they start to feel their divine energy, their quirk energy, flowing throughout their body. The first one to master it was Bakugo. Or not master, but use. Bakugo was able to heighten his speed and make him quicker than most people. Using this, he was also able to increase his explosions, but both of them were not by much. It was like a 1.2 times multiplier. But he was still able to do it. Bakugo could feel the difference. He could see the difference. He can see his speed increase, as well as his physical attacking increase. And he was amazed. He's like, that must be why this fucking meathead got in here. If he knew how to already use, what did he call it again? Ki? And if ki's basically our quirk energy, but without actually having it, then that's why. And to reprimand, I know Deku doesn't have ki. Ki's not what Deku's using. What he's using is his own spiritual energy and being able to already train his body up to an absurd degree. Because yes, he is a reincarnation, but the reincarnation still kept the physical durability that Mori Jin had. And if you don't know, Mori Jin's physical durability is insane. Especially when he gets his dragon armor. Back to what I was saying though. So that's why this kid can fucking fight with us and beat us. He could probably even take out some decent villains on his own. I gotta keep training. This might be an interesting year. All Might, who in this universe had a weird pendant around the neck. The pendant was called Pendant of Consistent Healing. It was a national treasure. What it does is give a slight healing effect to whoever wears it, allowing All Might to fight longer and for longer periods of time. Deku walked up to All Might and he said, "So, is your pendant like my yaoi?" And All Might looks at Deku, kind of perplexed, and he's like, "What do you mean?" "Your necklace. If I'm correct, I'm pretty sure my master called them national treasures." Yaoi is also national treasure. And All Might heard this, and he was shocked by it, because a student having a national treasure is a big no-no. Especially because national treasures, once used accurately, can become a horrible, devastating item. All Might doesn't even have a full grasp of his national treasure, so all it can do is slightly heal him. But this kid looks like he has an immense grasp on his national treasure, easily being able to take out personnel. Not to mention, also, when the national treasure accepts you as its master, you can teleport to you no matter where you are. It's amazing. And All Might's like, yes, it is a national treasure. The pendant of instant healing. I haven't been able to fully master it yet since it was given to me recently. But yes, it is a national treasure as well. And Deku's like, oh, that's amazing. So I'm guessing it lets you heal yourself? And All Might's like, yes. And I'm guessing your national treasure is that pole you were talking about earlier. And Deku's like, yeah, would you like to hold it? And All Might's like, sure. Deku's like, I'm gonna warn you, it's extremely heavy. And All Might's like, psh, it's not gonna be heavy enough. And then Deku hands it over into All Might's hand, and All Might can feel the weight as his hand is now slightly just resting barely above the floor. It's literally taking all he has in his buff form just to keep it there. And All Might's like, I can't hold this any longer. Midoriya, please take it out of my hand. And Deku's like, oh, I'm so sorry, All Might. And he takes it out of All Might's hand. All Might slowly raises his hand, feeling the imprint on where it was just at. He's like, that can also expand and grow to be the size of like a building? All Might says, oh yes, it can expand greatly past that and grow larger too. It can expand to be big enough outside of the atmosphere. And All Might's just shocked by this. Outside of the atmosphere? Is he being real right now? That has so much immense power. In the background, we see some personnel who are staring through the windows of the gym. They are in cloaks. They have an N labeled on them. 2 yellow N's in a black hexagon shape. And one of the men say, it looks like he's finally resurrected. It's been too long, said the other man. A third female says, I can't wait to take him out. The first man says, no, don't worry, not yet. If we want to bring the world back to how it was, we need to use him. He's like a pawn of ours. The 3 cloaked figures disappear. Deku sensed something moving, so he looked that way. But when he looked, there was nothing. All Might says, what's wrong, young Midoriya? And Deku says, oh, nothing. I thought I saw some people. Looks like they're not there anymore. All Might laughs and says, ha, young Midoriya. There should be no one being able to get on UA campus. We have tons of heroes here that should be easily able to stop any villains. Deku's like, yeah, you're right. I shouldn't worry. Deku then went back to training his ki. After about 2 weeks, all the UA students had been able to learn how to use ki, and most of them can multiply their strength and speed by a 1.5 times multiplier, except for Deku, who had almost gotten a pretty decent grip on it and know how to multiply his strength and speed by a 3 times multiplier. Not to mention, he's constantly increasing his basic strength and speed by training daily, increasing his strength, speed, stamina, and endurance. All Might walks through the door, and he says, so, today we'll be doing something different. And they're all like, we're not going to be training our quirk energy anymore? No, we'll be doing that too. That'll be just mixed in with regular lessons, though. Today we will be doing a hero versus villains training simulator. And he raised his hand saying, so are we going to fight against robots? No. You guys will be split up into teams of 2. And you guys will fight each other in brutal ways. The villains will have a bomb while the heroes try to touch it. If the heroes touch the bomb, they win. If the heroes capture both the villains, they win. If the villains were able to hold out and make sure the bomb doesn't get touched or captured over a certain amount of time, they win. If the villains are able to knock out both the heroes, they win. And Bakugo's like, yes, finally some action. We haven't done anything since starting the school year. And Deku's like, excuse me, Katsuki, please, calm down. What was that, you shitty meathead? It was nothing, Deku says as he breathes out a sigh. Then All Might does the teams, and all the teams are the same as the teams in canon. Deku and Uraraka then show up. Deku goes, so Uraraka, how good is your ki control? And Uraraka explains, well, I can multiply my strength and speed by at least 1.5 times. Not to mention now, if I actually use my quirk power and energy and pour it into my quirk itself, I can easily levitate myself without any issues. Deku's like, that's amazing. Yeah. It's pretty effective, too. Deku's like, okay. So I want you to levitate yourself at the top at the start of the game. I'm guessing Bakugo will try to attack us through this entrance area. Ito will probably guard the bomb. That just seems how those two will play. I'm gonna go ahead and go fight Bakugo. I want you to go upwards and go in for the top of the building. And go downwards. Most likely it'll be on the top floor, but if not, then it'll probably be on the second to top or third to the top. Just to throw you off. And Uraraka's like, okay. P.S. Ito will be quicker. He is one of the most quickest out of all of us. He was even quicker than me at the quirk session test. Not to mention, now that he has an understanding of how to use his quirk energy, he'll be even quicker. Yes, I understand. Okay, I just want to make that clear. Deku then walks in through the front door. He starts walking up to about the third floor, and out of nowhere, explosion reaches him. Deku uses his ki to harden his body as he gets sent flying backwards. Bakugo's like, you finally made it up here, you fucking musclehead. As Deku's just sitting there bloodied. He's like, oh, hello, Bakugo. Good to see you. He's not too much bloodied, but that attack was way stronger. So currently, Bakugo basically has the abilities that he's at in the manga. He doesn't have the howitzer explosion or the AP shot, but he is that strong now, thanks to quirk enhancing. And Bakugo's like, yes, yes, yes. Now it's time for you to die, shitty head. Bakugo and Deku start to fight. Oh god, my bad guys, I had to sneeze. Afterwards, meanwhile, Ida and Uraraka meet each other. Ho ho ho, hero. You think you can easily sneak past me? I'm quicker than anyone else you see. No one can outspeed me. And Uraraka's like, oh yeah? And he's like, yes, I am. In 1 second, he's across the room. Next second, he's almost right on top of Uraraka. Uraraka barely has time to do anything, so she reaches her hand out and touches Ida on the chest plate. And then sends him up into the air. Ida's like, huh? What? Wait, what? No. No! Uraraka was like, really? That's how much work it was? Uraraka then walks over to the bomb and touches it. Heroes win! All Might shouts. As Bakugo was about to launch another explosion at Midoriya. What? That shitty fucking Four Eyes couldn't do anything right. As Ida's just floating in the air, just doing his best. Uraraka taps her fingers together, causing Ida to fall back down to the ground. She helps up Ida and says, don't worry, it's all good. Afterwards, all the other fights play out to the same. on the bus for, no, my bad. The next day, Aizawa enters the room and says, "Hello, class. Today we are going to be going to the USJ." And everyone's like, "The Universal Studios of Japan?" No, 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 no. We will be going to the Unforeseen Situation Training Junction. Aw. I want to go to the Universal Studios of Japan. Yes, 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 yes. That joke is literally made by every year by every single group of kids. Now, we're going to be going to the USJ. Okay. Everyone gets on the bus and they start to get ready to go. Everyone's explaining their quirks and how their quirk energies kind of work. And when it gets to Deku, Deku says, "Well, I don't have a quirk, but my ki energy allows me to choose which one I want to physically boost." So you're basically able to boost your defense, attack, stamina, strength, everything. Yes. Not to mention, since it's my own energy I'm using, I get better understanding. What do you mean? Well, see, quirk energy comes from your quirk, right? Well, ki energy comes from yourself. So if I know myself, I know my quirk energy. The main reason why Deku says it's 3 times and not its actual times multiplier, which is 1.5 for him, it's because that he doesn't actually know himself. He doesn't have all of his memories unlocked, so he can't actually use it to the greatest degree. And everyone's like, "Oh, okay. That's amazing." Basically, he's a jack of all trades compared to everyone else, but he's a master in none of them, currently. They all go to the USJ. They meet 13, and 13 explains about her quirk being black hole and that she's a rescue hero and everything. Deku really doesn't care as he's looking around trying to see if there's anything to train with, when out of nowhere, a black, purple-ish looking fiend shows up in the center of the arena. And Deku says, "Excuse me, Miss 13, is that meant to happen?" And 13 sees around. And Aizawa sees it too, and he sees a horde of villains starting to pour out, with a blue-haired man, a light blue-haired man walking out with hands everywhere, or even with a hand on his face. How does Shigaraki see past that? Whatever. I was always like, "Get the kids out of here now, 13. The blue-haired man talks to the weird, ghostly purple butler-looking guy and says, "Katagiri, split up the children." "Yes, Bishop Shigaraki, I will do so." Out of nowhere, all the children start to get split up. So if you don't know, they're a part of a group called Nux, N-O-X, but they're part of Neo-Nux. In other words, a group that split off from Nux after the original Jade Emperor died 300 years ago. And their main goal is to attack the area here. Nux is still operational, but Neo-Nux is the one that's attacking. Deku got split up with Froppy and Benetta in a water-like area. Seems like multiple different water-based quirk users were all inside there as well. So Deku's like, "We need to get back to the center. We need to get back to 13. Ida was already out and started to run back by this point, and he ran back towards the personnel that were back at the school and said, "The USJ is under attack." No one thought he was joking because he was out of energy and he was panting, showing that it was the case scenario. Not to mention, Ida's known for not lying. Afterwards, back over on the other side, Deku quickly takes out Yaoi, knowing this is no time for kidding around. These villains can easily take him out. And afterwards, he takes out Yaoi and he jumps. He says, "Froppy, grab Mineta and grab onto me." Froppy does so as well. He jumps up into the air and using Yaoi, slams the pole into the ground, sending water flying out in all directions. Shigaraki sees this. Bishop Shigaraki sees this and is like, "What's that over there?" "Priest category. I do not know, sir. May God be with you, Shigaraki said. To Katagiri. Katagiri responds, may God be with you. Shigaraki starts to walk over to where the water explosion's at, preparing to use his quirk against whoever is there, or as he knows it, his divine energy to whoever is there. If I remember correctly, that pole that can expand and grow to immense sizes is only used by one person now in all of our history books we had. Before the gods decided to try and change history, some of us remembered the past and wrote down in lectures. That pole belongs to Mori Jin, one of our arch enemies, and the one who almost solely took out all of Neonux in the past. But we were able to reform because God had wished so. Shigaraki starts to walk forward and prepares to attack whoever's there. When out of nowhere, Deku's right there, and Deku sees a hand going towards Froppy. But Deku uses Yaoi and hits the hand away with it. Shigaraki looks back at Deku and he's like, oh, so it's you who can control Yaoi. Shigaraki says in a very low, demanding voice. Deku's like, yeah, it is. So what? And then Shigaraki's like, you'll be the first to die then. Deku goes, this guy's not kidding around. I gotta get Froppy out of here now. So Deku using Yaoi extends Yaoi to an absurd length to try to block Shigaraki's upcoming attacks. Shigaraki tries to decay it, but for some reason it's not working. Apparently my divine energy cannot work against this object. Then again, this object's almost indestructible. Only the gods themselves can actually destroy it. I guess my divine energy is not strong enough to destroy it then. Okay. As Deku's over on the other side of Yaoi using it as a shield, he grabs Froppy. Froppy's like, we need to go. And Deku's like, yes, I agree. Where's Mineta? And Mineta is right behind Froppy. Deku picks up Mineta and Froppy and contracts Yaoi. In that second, Shigaraki tries to run towards Deku. Deku, using Yaoi, launches them up in the air again, sending them flying over nearby back to where 13 was fighting Katagiri. You villains from Neonux really need to knock this stuff off. I have no clue what you're talking about, Katagiri responds. You're endangering lives of poor civilians. These civilians want to go against them gods themselves. Then let it be. I won't care, he says. His Eraserhead's taking on multiple different personnel. Shigaraki says, bring in the Nomu. Priest. Katagiri. Katagiri obliges by bowing towards Shigaraki and says, yes, sir. And then Katagiri says, may God be with you. As a weird purple being steps through the portal, looking to be impressively strong. The purple being then starts to beat up Aizawa, who was just there. And afterwards, All Might busts through the door, looking around at the situation to see Aizawa half beaten, 13 fighting against a weird purple ghost-looking figure that had teleported away back to the center of the stage. And Midoriya and Froppy and Mineta all standing back with 13, preparing to fight in case any of the villains comes. He's like, don't worry, because I am here. And Bishop Shigaraki is like, yes. The biggest fiend that is holding us back currently, the number one hero, All Might, shall be taken out today. And Deku says, All Might, that fiend in the center was genetically made to attack you. Be careful. Shigaraki is surprised that Deku can hear this, but Deku had chosen to heighten his senses using his ki, allowing him to hear and see almost everything on the battlefield. Afterwards, All Might quickly jumps in and starts fighting the Nomu. Aizawa, in his last few seconds of consciousness, thanks to All Might making it quicker, opens his eyes and stops Nomu's quirk, allowing All Might to bust Nomu and kill it instantly, knowing how dangerous it was. All Might then starts trying to defeat multiple different villains. Bisharp Shigaraki is getting very annoyed, starting to itch his face and stuff and his neck, and he's like, we need to get out of here now. The Nomu failed. Everything failed. Category's like, let's go. Bisharp Shigaraki. Yes, priest category. Teleport us out of here. Category teleports Shigaraki out, leaving most of the villains there left. The other heroes show up and wrangle up the rest of the villains. And then the USJ attack was forwarded. And that's where I'm going to leave it off, guys. Just so you're wondering, the reason why the name Neonux is there is for people who didn't read, not Tarot Card, got a high school, is because Neonux is like the main bad guys, I guess you could say. They're one of the main bad guys. And basically, their job is to honor the gods, and their ranking system goes from basic installment units or troops, and then you got priests, and then you got bishops, and then you got the high ranking officials. You also have archbishops, I'm pretty sure, but I don't know. And you also got the princes as well, but the princes don't exist anymore currently. So if you guys liked the video, hit the like button. If you enjoyed it, hit the subscribe button. And before I leave off, I am going to say I'm sorry for not uploading yesterday. My throat was shot thanks to me having to do stuff for school that involved a lot of yelling. So I do apologize once again. I know. Don't worry. I'll be uploading constantly until Thursday now to make up for not uploading on Saturday. And until next time, goodbye.